Imagine waking up one morning, the air still heavy with the scent of someone who's no longer there, and realizing that last night wasn't just a fleeting moment. It was a thread woven into the fabric of your soul. Your mind hums with a quiet shift, a whisper of something deeper, as if your biology has spoken a truth you can't unhear. Society tells us intimacy can be casual, a simple transaction of pleasure without consequence. But your brain, a universe of electric connections, doesn't play by those rules. It wages a silent war of chemicals, flooding you with dopamine, binding you with oxytocin, rewriting you with serotonin. We're sold a fantasy, physical closeness without emotional weight, a liberation that feels convenient until it doesn't. It's like stepping into a storm and expecting the rain to spare you because you've declared yourself waterproof. The laws of your psyche don't bend to modern myths. Every touch, every gaze, every vulnerable exchange leaves a mark, invisible at first but etched into your being. These aren't just memories. They're imprints, microscopic fractures that accumulate like cracks in a mirror, distorting the reflection of who you might become. You might not feel the damage right away, and that's what makes it so insidious. It creeps in later. Empty nights, a vague ache, the slow realization that connection feels harder, as if some part of you has quietly slipped away. Your mind doesn't sort these moments into neat categories of meaningful or casual. It absorbs them all as significant, rewriting your emotional landscape with every encounter. Denying their weight doesn't erase the process. It only blinds you to the transformation unfolding beneath your skin. Science reveals what we've long intuited. Intimacy isn't just chemistry. It's a psychological map drawn in real time. Dr. Helen Fisher's work shows how your brain builds cognitive blueprints of another person, charting not just their presence but the emotions they stir within you. These maps don't vanish when the moment ends. They linger, guiding you toward patterns you might not even see. Dismiss the encounter as trivial, and you're still left with a compass your psyche refuses to ignore. There's a reason certain memories cling to you, vivid and unshakable while others fade. State-dependent learning locks these intimate moments into your mind, tying emotions and sensations together, creating markers that shape how you'll feel and act long after the night is over. Carl Jung spoke of soul fragments, pieces of yourself you invest in others during deep connection. When those ties break without care, you're left with a subtle loss, a scattering of your essence across a history you can't fully reclaim. This isn't mere poetry. It's the quiet reality of a mind that craves integration over detachment. You feel it in the hesitations, the numbness, the way trust seems to slip through your fingers like sand. Casual encounters often thrive on unpredictability. Will they call? Will they stay? Do they even care? This uncertainty hooks you, triggering the same reward systems as addiction, binding you tighter with every fleeting high and hollow low. Your psyche forms silent promises in those vulnerable moments, even when no words are spoken. When those unspoken vows are broken by distance or indifference, the wounds may be small, but they stack up, eroding your capacity to open up again. Even a single night can wake your attachment system, the ancient wiring that governs how you bond. It doesn't care about your labels. It responds to the raw resonance of the experience, setting expectations that ripple far beyond the moment. Over time, these ripples harden into patterns, a relational identity you carry without realizing it. Each disconnection forces your mind to adapt, and those adaptations become the lens through which you see every future possibility. Your attachment system wasn't built for this dance of fleeting closeness and sudden absence. It evolved for permanence, for the slow unveiling of another soul over years, not the quick cuts of modern romance. Engage in this cycle too long, and your mind learns a cruel lesson. Intimacy means abandonment. Subtle at first, a guarded heart, a flicker of anxiety. These defenses grow, whispering that love itself is a prelude to loss. Picture your emotional world as a mosaic, each encounter a tile in the design. With every detached moment, a piece goes missing, and what was once whole begins to fracture, leaving gaps you can't quite name. You might catch it in quiet moments, sadness after closeness, irritation you can't explain, a pull away when you want to lean in. These aren't random. They're splintered parts of you, acting on their own, caught between longing and fear. The numbing comes next, not by choice but by necessity, a shield against the grief of repeated goodbyes. What starts as a dull ache becomes a wall, until even the desire to feel deeply slips out of reach. Psychologist Robert Firestone traced this descent. Sensitivity fades to detachment, then to a quiet incapacity for the connection you once craved. It's not weakness, it's survival, a mind protecting itself from a pain it can't keep bearing. Your history of intimacy doesn't just sit in the past. It shapes the future, bending your expectations, your trust, your willingness to risk. Mary Ainsworth found that our ability to bond isn't static. It shifts with every encounter, for better or worse. The signs are subtle but real. Watching for rejection, doubting kindness, rushing in or holding back. These aren't quirks, they're scars, and they don't fade when real love knocks. They stand in the way. What begins as a shield becomes a cage, locking you out of the very depth you might one day seek. The irony is stark. The freedom promised by detachment delivers a prison of your own making. But there's a way out, and it starts with looking inward, unflinchingly, at the patterns you've built. Those loops of chasing the unavailable or fleeing the steady, they're not fate. They're your psyche crying out for attention. Track the clues. The panic when someone pulls away, the relief when they do, the hollow ache after a night of closeness. These aren't flaws to judge, they're signals, pointing to the roots of your relational soul. Jung taught that healing begins when we drag the unconscious into the light, seeing our automatic dances for what they are. You can't rewrite them in a flash, but awareness carves a space where choice can breathe. Notice how you chase what hurts or sabotage what heals. Those moves once kept you safe. To see them clearly without shame is to start stitching yourself back together, piece by tender piece. Boundaries aren't walls to keep others out. They're the frame that holds you whole. After years of blurred lines, they need rebuilding, starting with the simplest question: who gets to touch you, and why? Physical closeness isn't just a moment, it's a gateway to your psyche, designed to leave you vulnerable. Setting terms for that exchange isn't prudish, it's honoring the power of your own wiring. Emotional boundaries follow, a dance of sharing and shielding based on trust, not impulse. It's not about hiding, it's about offering yourself where it's earned, preserving what's sacred in you. Intentionality turns intimacy from a reflex into a choice, a shift from drifting to deciding. Before you step in, ask, what do I seek? What does this mean? What am I ready to give and take? These questions don't kill the spark, they ground it, aligning your actions with your truest needs. A conscious connection, even brief, can heal where a careless one wounds. Sometimes the path to wholeness means stepping back, pausing the pursuit entirely. It's not deprivation, it's space to hear yourself, to let the fragments settle into something solid. John Bowlby called it earned security, a strength forged not from luck, but from facing your story head-on. Journal the past, map the patterns, sit with a guide who knows the terrain. Let it unfold. Build resilience in small steps. Steady yourself through triggers. Open up in safe places first. Friendships can be the training ground, teaching you vulnerability without the stakes of romance. When you return to intimacy, move slowly, letting each moment sink in, not scatter. It's not about rules. It's about weaving a thread that holds, not one that frays. The deeper truth might not lie in another's arms, but in the mirror, in the quiet courage to meet yourself fully. Every encounter has shaped you, but it's your gaze inward that decides what comes next. What if the connection you've been chasing isn't out there waiting to complete you? What if it's already within, buried beneath the noise, daring you to find it?